Welcome to the Hidden Why podcast, episode 1064. My interview with Sherry Fernandez, and we're discussing her book, Life Mastery. Please enjoy. Hello, Sherry. Welcome to the Hidden Why podcast. Great to have you here today.
Thank you, Lee. Glad to be here.
Very exciting. It's whereabouts are you? You're over in the US?
I'm in the U.S. I live in Idaho, but I'm actually in Utah. I'm in downtown Salt Lake City today in my son-in-law's office. So on my way, part way to where I'm headed. So, yeah, but I live in Idaho.
Idaho, okay. Yeah, nice. How's the weather?
Cold.
Cold?
One reason I'm leaving, I'm going to southern Utah where it's warmer. It's cold.
Yeah, okay. What's cold like? I know you're going to say Fahrenheit, aren't you? And I won't figure it out.
We're in a drier climate, but in Fahrenheit, it's the mornings are like 20, highs during the days, maybe low 30s. So just about freezing. So
20 degrees Fahrenheit is about, it's about freezing. Okay, that's cold.
Yeah, freezing is 32 in Fahrenheit, and it's 22 in the mornings and freezing during the day, about 32. So, yeah, cold.
No, cold. Well, it's getting warm here, so I don't mind the cold, but I've never been, so that's exciting. Look, you've just written a new book, right?
Yeah. 2021. Yeah, published.
How's it? On the bestseller. Has it been received? It's been on the bestseller, yeah.
Been on the Wall Street Journal bestseller, and of course Amazon. That's a pretty easy one, and then USA Today. Those bestseller lists last year, and it's been well received, and we've got good reviews, and it's the kind of book that kind of requires you to do something. So but it's doing well, I think.
That's good. So the book is called, for everyone listening, Life Mastery, Personal Progression Towards an Infinite Potential. So it's really a personal progression book or self-improvement book. Is this your first book, Sherry?
It is. I never actually intended to write a book, and this things kind of came together, and I thought, and I'm not getting any younger, Lee. I was like, I got a lot of information in my head. I thought, I need to get it out, and just felt inspired, really. A couple of people had suggested frequently people suggested over the years that I do that. It just didn't seem like me, but then all of a sudden it was me, and I wrote the book, and turns out it's pretty good.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people reading look at, the idea of writing a book, myself included. And I haven't had a successful book like yours, but certainly the idea of writing a book can be fairly daunting. I mean, what just came to you to suddenly go, okay, I'm going to write a book?
Well, I said this happens a lot when I speak somewhere. I teach a workshop. People will say, you should write a book. And I've just been like, no way. I'm not a writer. I'm a speaker. Never even had an interest in it at all. But it was a kind of a power couple in our community had attended this workshop, and I respected them, and they were both like, they're in the education world, and he said, really, you need to write a book. And I went home and told my husband. He said, Sherry, really, you do need to. And I thought, yeah, I guess I do. I didn't know how to write. I didn't think I knew how to write a book. And I thought, well, I'm very good at speaking. I'm really well received as a speaker. I know I'm interesting, so why don't I just start by how I speak? And while it doesn't exactly work that way, it turns out I've been writing a blog for a long time on my fitness business. So I've been doing that. So I'd had quite a bit of writing experience, but it turned out it was pretty popular. So I guess I should have given myself more credit. But as it turned out, local book publisher in my community, she didn't publish my book, but she said it was the best book nonfiction book she'd read. That she'd come across her desk. So I don't know. I think it's good. I don't know what else to say. It's good. I think it's good. And it's well received. If you write a book, you don't always know. One minute you think it's good, the next minute you think, oh, this is just crap, and the next minute you're like, oh, this is so good. And today I think it's good.
That's good. Well, you had some writing experience, but I think, like you said, if you're a speaker and you speak from the heart and speak from your knowledge, if you can put that on paper, it's pretty much the process that I found is just speaking my thoughts. But there's more to it than that. Is there any tips you'd give for someone starting out writing? Did you have any routines? I know this is not discussing the book necessarily, but more the process of you writing a book.
Well, what you said is really, really good right there. You said you've got these things you're thinking about that you're passionate about. If you write about something you're passionate about, it's going to come a lot easier. But I have some clients who are writers because I still do one-on-one coaching, and their goals to write. And we set aside, they determine how much, but we set aside time every day for them to write. And I think, of course, that's going to be a good program. But no, I don't want to be out there giving people who've got probably more experience writing tips. I had information. I think it's well presented, but I don't think I'm going to be set up for writing a novel. That's going to be me. I think my information is good and it's also authentic. And I think when you have an authentic voice, when what people are reading, they think this is real. This is real for them and they know what they're talking about. I think it comes across better. And I think that's one reason my book is well received. It's authentic. I didn't put anything in there that I didn't know, had not learned, practiced, taught for years. And I didn't just have a good idea. I think this sounds like a good idea. I read this in a book. There's nothing like that. Or I did some research on this. What I wrote about were the things that I've been teaching for a long time and have seen in my life. We often, the people who promote me say she's a rags to riches story. And at first I kind of thought that jarring, but really my husband and I are really just that rags to riches story. But we learned certain principles and practiced them. We're very successful, not just financially, but in our relationships and just as whole people. And I've taught it. And so I know it. And then I wrote about it. So I know it. And I think it comes across as authentic. And I think that is probably the one reason people like it most is it sounds authentic. It feels authentic. And it is.
Nice. And what's the symbol on the front, the pine cone?
It's actually a coniferous cone for a redwood tree. Redwood trees. I tell the story in the book, but the redwoods, of course, if you've ever been at the foot of one, they're just awe-inspiring. They're so huge. They're bigger than any building. The bigger ones are bigger than any building in my whole state. They're just huge. But the cone, I got interested in what size the cone might be for those because I'd seen some first growth ponderosa pines and the cones were huge. As it turns out, they're about as big as your thumb. They're very small, but the potential in those cones is a redwood. And I like the analogy towards human potential. We have so much potential as humans. There's so much that we're capable of that we can be and do. But we're often just like these little redwood cones, with all the potential, but not very much of it being developed. So, but the main point there is not so much that, is that people are have infinite potential. We just have so much potential, and it's kind of, I'm inspired. I just can't even tell you how inspired I am by what people can do and what amazing things people can do when their energies are directed towards the goal. Yeah. It's all inspiring. So the trees are inspiring, people are inspiring. So it kind of is a natural analogy.
That's the link. You've got a lot going on. So you're a speaker, a coach. You said something about a fitness business there.
I had a fitness business for 10 years.
Yeah. Do you still have that?
No, I sold that a few years ago. Did you want me to tell you about the fitness business?
No. I'm just curious about your life. So you've obviously done a lot, and you've got 6 kids too, don't you?
Yeah, we raised 6 kids. We're real family people. I've got 21 grandchildren, so busy family. One of the things that might be pointed to that is, what happened was about the time we were trying to apply these principles of success and try to dig ourselves out of the financial hole that we were in. Occurred to me that I was still waiting to grow up and look like, I don't know, Barbie or something, and that I had already had a bunch of kids. And I thought, I believe that I can have a lot of children and still have a rocking hot body. I think you can have it all. So I set about to prove that, which I did. And so then as my children were raised, it was time for me to teach the things I'd learned that were healthy, whole principles of how to do that. And so I opened up the fitness business. So it kind of all ties together. And then that fitness business gave me a platform to teach the personal development principles that I was teaching. Then I could do it my own way in my own space. So we had a 2-part program. It was fitness and personal development called Fit Life. The personal development was called Fit Life. Sold the business, and then I rebranded myself and then wrote Life Mastery. And so that's kind of how that all kind of ties together in one stream. They
certainly do fit, don't they? The fitness side of it and the mental side of it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Are you always been this sort of energy of motivation to push yourself towards your full potential, or is it something that you've really had to work on because you were just feeling a lack of satisfaction or something?
That's a super good question. I knew as a child and even as a teenager, I just had this feeling that I had something special to do, and I was going to do great things. But I also was very, very undisciplined. And by the time I was 22, I had a bit of a drinking problem, and I just had partied. And it was the 70s, and it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And so I was very undisciplined in my habits. But about 23 or 24, I was like, okay, I want things, and I have nothing. I've partied away all my time, my money, my potential to this point. I started to develop the disciplines, and so I am very disciplined and very driven, and that's
yeah. Well, a couple of years at party isn't too bad. I mean, I feel like I've done that all my life.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't very long. So yeah, I didn't. It wasn't until into my 20s when I said, okay, now it's time to get serious. But I'm always still setting goals. I don't think that I think it's in a balanced, healthy way, but I'm always setting goals, tracking new habits, looking for new things, reaching for new goals. It's just who I am. I'll do this till I die, I'm sure, because it's just
you sound like a busy person, a person that perhaps can't sit still.
Yeah, I not in a nervous way, but I need new vistas. I need new ways to grow. I do want to embrace everything that life has to offer. I love to travel. I just want to soak it all in, everything that life has to offer. I just want all of it.
Where has that been spawned from? I mean, is that just inherently, your character that you've been raised with, or something more innate than that beyond your childhood?
Definitely not what I was raised with.
No, because I mean, there's people that are just happy. I don't know. They seem content with just life and how it is. But then there's other people that, there's all sorts of people is what I'm saying. But you are certainly wired towards this constant need for growth and challenge and progress and projects and, all that sort of stuff.
That's also a really good comment. You have some good things on your mind. Yeah, I've asked myself the same question. Like, I don't know which is more puzzling. Why am I, and my husband is the same, and why are some of us so driven to achieve, not in a healthy way, of course, but then others seem to be content with so little. And I don't know. Jim Rohn said it's the mysteries of the mind. We can't figure it out. I guess there's no figuring it out. But for me, it seems to be innate in me. But also, the more you do it, like anything else, the more you sit around on the couch, the more you want to. Also, the more that you achieve and you say, that was cool, because happiness comes from achievement, not from just achievement, but from personal development, like to grow and develop as a person. That's what makes us happy. So it's also addictive in that way, that you want the happiness that comes from it. So I think that the more you do it, the more you'll want it, because it makes you happy. And we all have this huge potential. And when we move towards it, we're happier. When we're sliding away from it, we're not very happy. And learning that might be the biggest factor in why some people want and some people don't seem to. They haven't learned that one principle.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I think you can have this contentment with life, and a very mellow sort of life, and then you can have that same contentment, but this underlying desire to do more, but without the necessary skills or tools or motivation. And then you can have the people that are nervously running towards all these goals for, external reasons, not internal reasons. And then you can have someone like yourself who's more internally driven towards, finding something larger in life and happiness maybe.
Right, and happiness. It's not happiness if you just, like you said, that, can't remember how you put it, but that nervous scatter, running around and trying to just accomplish things outwardly, that does not bring happiness. But I'm working on me on my own masterpiece, right? And so part of that is also how to be still, how to work when you work, how to be still when it's time to be, how to have a still mind, how to have a healthy body. There's a lot to being a successful human being, as opposed to just being. We talk about success on the world. We point to somebody, say they're successful. We're almost always talking about money. Yeah. But what I'm teaching and what I want for myself is I want to be a human being who's a successful human being. In all money, yes, of course, that's one thing, but that's only one thing. I want to have control of my mind, mastery over my appetites. I want to be a person that people can come to and learn from and feel good to be around. I want to be a good spouse and a good mother and a good grandmother. And I want to make the world a better place. I want to be a well-rounded, whole, well-developed human being. And that's what I would wish for the people who read my book or take my coaching classes.
Yeah. You talk about in your book the determination of your why, which is very relevant to my book and also the podcast as well. Talk to us about why. What is this why?
Most of what I teach is what the habits you develop every day through your becoming, right? And we're setting these goals too, whether the daily habits or whatever goals we're saying. We put our head down and we're going to work, but it can feel meaningless sometimes if we don't have a pretty strong why. Why do I want to do that? Being driven won't carry you. I do want to accomplish and be this person. That won't always carry me. So to have a personal mission statement, for example, so you've got some deep reasons why I need to be successful, because when I can be successful, then I can make a difference in the world. For example, the more successful I am, the bigger difference I can make. Or I've got these big dreams I want to accomplish, these really big dreams. So I got to do the little things today. So the more we can build up the why am I doing this, and build it up, define it, build it up, the more it will carry us through, get us out of bed on the cold winter mornings in Idaho to go do our workouts or whatever we need to do when it's hard. We just need to have a good why. Otherwise, it begins to feel a little pointless, right? Yeah,
it does, absolutely. And this why needs to be, connected within to some sort of internal ambition or matter, I suppose, rather than, I'm going to the gym because I want to impress people with my guns, whatever it might be. What do you, how do you help or guide people to, finding that purpose, that internal purpose?
First, I'd like to address what you just said about the external thing. When I had the gym, we had a really high success rate. We were hands-on, worked with people, really good success rate, way above average. It was really good retention because we got results. But if somebody came in and they said, I got to get into I bought a size smaller than I am wedding dress because I want to get into it in 3 months by my wedding, or I want to look good for the beach, or things like that, they almost never made it. Like you just said, it needed to be something a little more internal. Yes, I want to look good, and there's that part of it. Look at my muscles, girl. That's super. But I want to be the person that has control over my body. I want to live for my children so I can play with my children and my grandchildren. I want to be a good example to my kids. Deeper reasons. So to develop that why, I teach 3 things in the book, which are, it's not the whole why. We have to dig deep and find our own whys. But I teach 3 skills. One is to have a mission statement. So you've got a brief statement of what difference you're trying to make in the world. So you're working on, you just mentioned that one. To have a personal constitution, I call them governing values, much like Benjamin Franklin's virtues. Who am I, and who am I trying to be me internally, which requires a lot of self-discipline to be those things, right? It gives me a reason. I'm a person who shows up on time, even if I know the other person's going to be late, because that's who I am. Those kind of disciplines make us work harder, I think, because we're trying to become a certain kind of person. And then the fun thing is I encourage, and all my clients have them start with this, what I call a big dreams list. Dream as big as you can. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? And list it in small detail and set them as goals. And I've got my own list is on, it's actually on the website too, but in the book. But thinking super big, like, do you want to, I like John Goddard's list. He wanted to go to the moon, died before he got a chance, but I think he would have made it. He was a great adventurer and explorer. Do you want to explore the Nile? Do you want to learn to play the piano? Do you want to be first chair in the orchestra? What all the dreams that you want? Do you want to see the Trevi Fountain? Do you want to go to Australia? I do want to see all 7 continents,
big dream
which I've
bucket
done.
List. Yeah,
that was it's like a bucket list. And one of mine was to see be on all 7 continents, which I've done. All 50 states, those kind of things, but also things like learn Spanish or all the things. And you make this big long list, and it gets you thinking about how big the world is, and it's motivating. It makes you feel like I've got to get busy because there's a lot to do and see and be out there.
Yeah. How do you do that with 6 kids?
That's a good question. It's a good question. I know that it appears from, but here's the thing. I could do my 6 kids and accomplish because, and I would advise everybody to do this. This is why I teach my people. you fill your own cup first. Like I had all this to do with all these kids and all the ball games and the dance lessons and the laundry and all of that stuff. But I took care of me first, not in a selfish way, but I had my personal development time. I made sure I exercised every day. I made sure that I spent time reading, and I spent time in prayer and the things that mattered to me, that made me better. And I did that first thing in the morning. And I felt like actually the opportunity to raise kids actually gave me more opportunity for growth for two reasons. When you have kids, you grow. I mean, there's no two ways about it. If you're gonna keep them alive, you're gonna have to find some good ways to control yourself and discipline yourself. And then I was a full-time mom for the years they were young. Yeah. And that gave me, if you manage your own time, I was good at managing my time. It actually gave me more freedom to pursue my own interests, my own education, my fitness, the things that I wanted to do, because I had to manage my time really good. Don't get me wrong. I had to get up really early and I had to work really hard, but it gave me the flexibility to manage it my way, which is kind of how I need to do things. I need to do things my way. And so it was a blessing. So the 6 kids and I learned more about potential personal development by raising kids than I ever would have learned if I had not had those 6 kids.
Of course. Yeah. Seeing your kids and their potential. Yeah. So you talk about a mission statement, your constitution and your dreams as the 3 sort of pillars to give you purpose, I suppose, is where we sort of stem from there.
Yeah.
This mission, it's sort of about, is it about your values, is it, or?
No, it's about using your own gifts. It's a brief statement. You can call to mind anytime. So you can use it in any situation. So it's like mine is that I use all my knowledge, wisdom, and personal power to inspire others to live with purpose, passion, and faith. So if I'm out in the world and somebody's like just happened before I got on this interview, a little in altercation at lunch. Here's this guy frustrated. He's taking it out on, it's a very nice restaurant with these people that I'm with at lunch. Totally inappropriate. But then I realized this guy's stressed and I have a mission. So I can either respond to him and say that was uncalled for, or I can look at him and say, how can I use the knowledge, my wisdom? My wisdom tells me there's something going on with this guy that has nothing to do with us. My personal power, which means I have enough sense of myself that I can stand up and say, it is fine. There's not a problem. We're good. Take a deep breath, and rather than react badly. So in an instant like that, I can use or I'm trying to decide. My kids are raised. My dad wanted me to, he said, why do you want to start a fitness business? Why don't you just drive around in your convertible and play with your grandchildren? Well, I have this mission, and to use my knowledge, my wisdom, my personal power to make a difference. And I can't do that driving around my convertible. I needed to find a platform. So I started the fitness business. So it helps you make big decisions, but it keeps you thinking about what your gifts are and how can I use them to make the world a better place? Because, I know you're doing these podcasts, obviously, because you're trying to make a difference. I know you feel this at some level, but either we're stuck on the planet or we're making it better. There's not really any middle ground there. And I definitely did not want to be a person who's going to be stuck on the planet. That the idea is revolting. So that mission statement keeps me focused on how I'm going to make the world better. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Day to day, hour to hour.
A reminder. Yeah, a little reminder. Yeah. And then that constitution is almost about your character, isn't it, really?
It is.
It's and aligning that character constantly.
Yeah. It's about being honest. It's really easy in your rush to success to maybe cut some corners in your integrity. If you're working on this personal constitution, you're not going to do that. I don't want to sell myself out to make more money on this deal. I don't want to fudge it at all, because if I do, I've got this other thing I'm working on, my honesty, my integrity, the way I present myself, being right with myself. There's some things that are important over here with my constitution. So I'm not going to throw another person under the bus so I can get ahead. I'm not going to do that because I'm also working over here. But if I forget about that part, it's really easy in the moment. If you're not consciously working on who you are becoming in the moment, it's very easy to cut a corner because you want this thing so bad. Take the shortcut to do the easy thing to get the sell and justify it. But if you're working on your character, you're not going to do that.
No. You have someone looking over you saying, no, that's not you.
Yeah.
Put yourself in.
Somebody's you. You're like, I'd really love to take this deal, but I'm not going to do it under those circumstances. Because you've got this other thing and you're driven by it. It's your why.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that. And the dreams part too. I mean, dream big. I mean, you must get a lot of conflict against this because I guess it's hard to dream big, isn't it? You sort of have that imposter syndrome come in. And
it's not for the younger people. I have clients in their 20s. I ask them the first time they come to meet with me that they have 50 items on their dreams list. And I have a couple of reasons why I do that. But it's interesting to me that the younger they are, the easier it is. If I get somebody in their 50s, they will struggle. And I've got one client now in her 50s, and she is just struggling to get, I think she's at like 12 or something, just to get thinking, because she's, I think you get so used to giving up on yourself maybe, or you just stop thinking big. I've got a couple I'm working with that are in their early 20s, and man, they've got a list, right? They've got things to do, places to go. And so that's one factor. I hope people don't feel some kind of an imposter syndrome, that they want to reach out and do everything there is to do out there. But I do set it up. I do that first because it gets people thinking big and also thinking specific. So they'll come in and say, well, I want to go to Europe. So, well, where in Europe do you want to go? Well, I want to go to France. Well, what do you want to see in France? I want to see the Louvre. It gets them thinking in specific terms, measurable, specific terms. You don't get to. So why don't you put on your big dreams list France and the Louvre? You get 2 check marks. So it just gets them thinking about, as we get into goals and how to massage the goals into the things you want to accomplish. It teaches them some skills to do that. A little complicated to address here completely, but that's the main reason why I do that first. But it's a super fun thing too, and people love it when they get to check something off those lists.
Yeah, it creates that excitement, doesn't it?
Yeah, it gets them all excited about life and their goals again.
How do you keep that spark alive? Because I mean, I know going into like conferences and someone stands up there and speaks, and you get this motivation, and you walk away, and 3 weeks later you're back to square one, and you've got no motivation. And it's similar to writing your dreams list and having a mission statement, but keeping that going every day. And I'm just thinking about it as you're talking, going, yeah, okay, look, I do have some of those things in my daily life that I think about, but then some things I'm really disconnected with because I've got so busy and just created that disconnect through just living life.
That is such. We should get together and talk sometime when I'm in Australia, because you and I think a lot alike. Yes, this is a problem. Like when I was trying to figure out how to be successful from where I'm at with nowhere and how to get to there, we really worked hard, both of us, reading all of the great motivators and going to motivational events. The problem was I would always be left saying, give me something to do, because that kind of motivation's awesome. You might even learn a practice or two, but it doesn't stay with you. And even if you commit to do something like a goal or a resolution of some kind, if you don't have a system, like you said, you lose track of it. The first I teach tools hard. I'm not just like a coach. It's like, go get them. Well, I actually teach them skills, because if you don't have good systems, you lose track of your goals. So I teach a tracking system. I teach a couple of them, but the first one I teach is a tracking system. And the people who work with me, and me and the people in my world who love the Life Mastery Program, every month we start a new tracking sheet, and we will track for forever. I've been doing it for 40 years plus.
Right.
That means that I've got this goal. I go to my motivational event. I think I'm going to do this thing. I'm putting it on my tracking sheet that I do this thing. Maybe I'm committed to say, I'm a salesman. I've got to start making 20 calls a day. That's what's going to make me successful. I went to this event. I'm motivated. 20 calls a day. Okay, I believe that person really means it. But the days go on, the old habits return. If you got on your tracking sheet, and you're using a tracking sheet every day, 20 calls, and you miss your mark, because nobody likes to miss their mark, you're more likely to get it done.
What's a tracking sheet?
It's in my book, and I explain it. It's basically a little chart. It's like a little calendar chart where you can have, there's lots of versions of this. I just happen to have one that I use. You write all the things you want to do down in a day, down the left-hand side of the grid. Across the top are the dates. And every day, if you do that thing, you get a check. If it's a day you're not supposed to, like you make your calls on the weekend, right? I only make them 5 days a week. Saturday, I get an X. Sunday, I get an X. Monday, if I don't do it, I get a blank spot. So if you don't do it, you get a blank spot. And that may sound very simplistic, but you cannot believe how people of all walks of life and all kinds of success levels find this useful, and they do not want those blank spots. You're like, I made 15 phone calls, but 15 is not going to get me my mark, and I'm getting that mark no matter what. I make the next 5 calls. Or I committed to drink 64 ounces of water, not 60. I've got 4 more ounces. No matter what it takes, I'm going to suck that 4 more ounces of water down, right? Because I got to get that mark. And it's surprisingly self-motivating. Because you can't it's good to work with a coach, but you can't always be working with a coach. I mean, you're busy and it's expensive. And a good coach is training you how to get by without them, which is what I hope I'm doing. Here's a system you can use. So it's in the book, in the Life Mastery book. Also, the tracking sheets are free on my website. I've made them free in every business I've owned for over, close to 15 years. I've made tracking sheets.
What's your website?
For people for free. It's lifemasteryinfo.com. Just downloads. My big dreams list is on there, and a few other things, but the reading list. But it's tracking sheets. They come in 3 sizes.
Lifemasteryinfo.com. Yep.
Lifemasteryinfo.com, and they're totally free. There's no strings attached. I think you have to put your email in, but that's life. That's how it goes. And then they send it to you. I think they send them to you in your email. So that's why.
How easy is it to unsubscribe?
Oh yeah, right. You certainly.
That's why I find sign up. But I mean, if you're worried about sending an email,
actually, you don't have to worry about unsubscribing because I don't send anything out. So I mean, maybe I will someday, but so far I don't use those.
Yeah, I started to and gave up on that too.
I'm busy doing other things. Nobody needs another thing in their inbox from me except the tracking sheets. So
the tracking sheets. Well, I might download that. That's awesome. What a great tool, and many more tools in the book. So I guess we can go to the lifemasteryinfo.com website to connect with Sherry and find out more. Is that the best place to connect with you, Sherry?
Yes. Well, you can actually email me at Sherry, SHGRRY, at lifemasteryinfo.com. Or you can, I'm on the social media platforms, the one that I actually do personally is we have a Facebook page, a personal page, and I'll respond and you can message. I'm very accessible because here's what's my jam, Lee, is I'm trying to make other people's world go around. I've got a mission. I'm 67. I don't need to make a living. I just need to make a difference. And so I make myself pretty accessible for people with questions and concerns or they just want to tell me about the book. I'll respond. Yeah.
Great work, Sherry.
Thank you.
Well done on writing the book. Congratulations. There's a lot of crossovers, I think, with my work and what you've written about, and very interesting stuff indeed. So would love to connect more, and maybe we can have a second round at some stage down the track.
I would totally love that, Lee. You ask super good questions, and I like the way you think. I feel the wheels turning from here.
Thank you. Yeah, they always are.
I enjoyed your questions a lot.
I'll stick the link in the show notes, guys. Grab a copy of the book and connect with Sherry at her website or on the social channels as well. Sherry, thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Have a really great day, and good luck with your podcast. Hope it's just wildly successful.
Thank you so much. And guys, check it out, thehiddenwhy.com. Until next time, peace, passion, and purpose. Thanks, guys, for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed what you heard. I hope you love what you're hearing. If you like this episode, guys, or any of the episodes that you're listening to here at The Hidden Why, please do me a favor by sharing it. You can share it with your families. You can share it with your loved ones. You can do that by using your favorite social media channels, using the icons on the platform that you're listening to The Hidden Why podcast. Also, guys, if you're a fan of the show, please connect with me. Connect with me at thehiddenwhy.com. I love to hear from you. I love to converse with the people that listen to this show to find out what they enjoy, what they don't enjoy, and perhaps if they have any questions or feedback for the show as well. You can stay up to date with all that I'm releasing here, guys. I do a solo show every Monday, a 3-minute thought every Thursday. I do 2 interviews a week on a Wednesday and a Saturday, and a book review every Friday. You can stay up to date with all that by subscribing to my newsletter at thehiddenwhy.com. Just enter your email address there, and also subscribing to the podcast on the platform that you choose to listen to your podcasts. You can also support the show, guys, by using the Amazon links at thehiddenwhy.com. So if you like books, you can get all the books that I review there, and anything else really that you like to purchase through Amazon. So use that link, it helps support the show. And we've also got a deal with Audible, guys. Audible is a fantastic way to listen to all your favorite books. We've got a deal with them so you can get 2 free books when you subscribe to a 30-day free trial. So check that out again at thehiddenwhy.com. Guys, that's it from me. You know what to do. Go out there, breathe more passion into every single moment. Do everything with greater purpose. And in doing so, you will discover your hidden why. This is The Hidden Why. My name is Lee Martinuzzi. Until next time, peace, passion, and purpose. See you soon.